Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome back to Kick Up Flicks. My name is Chris D, and I hope you are having a fantastic day today. So, with the spoilers of the Batman that we're going to be talking about today, I found out after the movie that there was a prequel novel to this. Now, I'm not going to go over everything throughout that novel because I didn't read it. However, there is another YouTuber, C3 Films, who actually covers this whole entire genre. I'm going to leave the link down below. That way you can go to it and watch it, and you don't have to read it yourself. He pretty much goes through it in detail and lets you know everything that happened prior to the movie. And then this is kind of like a fast forward of the book, which is actually really great. So it did fill in all the gaps that I did have throughout the whole entire movie, and it made a lot more sense. And I'm really glad I didn't read it prior or listen to this, video prior to the movie, because it really would have ruined the suspense for me. It would have ruined so much for me. However, after I watched it, it let it make more sense. So when I go and watch it a second time, I'm no longer sitting there in confusion, and I understand everything that's happening and why it's happening for the reason that it's happening, down to not necessarily its core, but I have a good idea of what everyone's point of view is. Not just the fact that Riddler wants to get back at Wayne's, or Catwoman, just, Selena Kyle wants to, avenge someone. There are reasons for why people are there, or why Batman is kind of weird with certain things. Anywho, we'll leave that down below, and we're going to hit on some of these topics as we go along throughout this whole entire spoiler. But James Gordon, I like the fact of James Gordon as a character throughout this whole entire movie, for the simple fact is that when he's walking Batman in the hallway between the cops, they're not in a rush. And it's almost kind of like, wow, this is like Batman. But at the same time, it's like, why is he here? You can tell some of the cops were like, no, he's not allowed in because this is a cop business. They know that if the Bat finds out too much, he can find anybody who's involved with this in any form of matter. Because we know the one consistent thing in all genres of Gotham is that the GCPD is always crooked or corrupt in some part. So, along with that, I like their relationship. You have Jim Gordon, who's been working with Batman for an unknown amount of time, but at the same time says, hey, I want to see your face, but you haven't let me know. And we've been working together for, let's go on for like a couple years. And then you have Bat still working with James Gordon, but at the same time keeping his distance because he's still trying to find out how good of a cop James Gordon is. And that is what makes it beautiful, because at the same time, if James Gordon is working with the Bats, if Bats does anything wrong, that is literally at the point of his life that he's messing with James Gordon's life. And that is a huge thing, to for me, the way I see it, to encompass of their relationship. The history and the Riddler and the Batman, I found it really interesting. Like, it had me going, like, did Riddler really know who Batman was? This is not the job for Riddler. I was like, no, this belongs to the Joker 100%. However, I was like, you know what? I don't care. If he does, he does. But then when they were having this talk, when the Riddler was behind that, that glass, and I'm sitting there going, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. And it was very smart in that scene that the Bats didn't say anything. Bruce Wayne didn't say nothing. He goes, does he really know? Like, you could tell. Like, and that's the beauty of it. Not only is half his face covered, but just by how he's moving, or just the look in the eye, and things that animation can't really do or has a hard time doing, is that you can see, like, kind of like this thought pattern, this natural human, like, I don't know how to put it, but in a way you can tell that he was like, oh wait, yeah, he really doesn't know that I am Bruce Wayne. He's saying we didn't get him, instead of saying, hey, you Bats are equals Bruce Wayne. That just did not happen. And I was sitting there going, ha, yes, okay, that was really close. They had me going for a very good minute. And that was a really intense scene for me. But I like how, like, in the novel, it kind of goes all the way back to, like, back in the day where Riddler was a kid who lived in Wayne Manor and burnt it down, and all this other, and he was kind of looked at Bruce Wayne saying, hey, you still get to live in an Eiffel Tower looking down upon the people like you're some kind of prince, the Prince of Gotham. And that probably left a really huge impression for Vengeance one day. And then, along with going to college and doing their thing, um, the Riddler's actually very smart, though he had a very hard time getting there. Along with that, though, it makes me wonder: did Batman win? Yes, he was able to find out some of the riddles throughout the movie. He was able to find a little of this, a little of that. Every single card he was able to answer. But did he win? And I think he lost. I think in this movie, the Bats really did lose. I mean, in all honesty, I think he lost. Only for the simple fact is he didn't know anything about the bombs surrounding the city. And even when the Riddler said, you didn't notice, did you? It was all there. I gave it to you. Maybe I made it too complicated for you as the greatest detective in the world, and you just did not get it. And I'm sitting there going, well, shit, I didn't get it either. I was like, tell me, where was it? So that's why I kind of want to go back and watch it to see if I can see anything. And maybe if you saw something, you could help me out and let me know down in the comments what I could be looking for. I'm not really sure. So that was one thing that really did get me, and that's what I really did love, is that this Batman had a lot of vulnerabilities, as even as skilled as he was when it came to fighting and everything else, and being able to solve these riddles. He did miss the grand scheme of the riddle, because even if he would to have stopped or continued to search for it, it was already too late for the Bats to do anything, to be honest. And as far as the Penguin is concerned, he didn't do much in the movie. And that's great though, because it wasn't about the Penguin. Because if you really look at Penguin's the type of person who comes into power when, the greater powers get knocked down. And that's exactly kind of what happened. The bigger powers got knocked down. Falcone got pretty much, or supposedly killed. I don't know if he's exactly dead. He might have made it. I don't know. Showed him pass. He could have just went to sleep or passed out, or maybe he's dead. Who knows? But either way, with Falcone out the way, the only person, the second-hand man at this point in time is the Penguin. So now Penguin should be running things temporarily for right now until someone a little bit more deadlier or with a little bit more sway and power comes back in any form or fashion, no matter who the next enemy is. But this is kind of, I kind of like that, where they did bring like a lot of heavy hitters, but at the same time they didn't use them in a way to make it so overabundant that it kind of like washed you away a little bit too much. Moving on to Falcone, I really did like the way Falcone was built and then represented. Let me explain. Falcone was very calm pretty much throughout the whole entire movie. How he moved, everyone would move out of his way. He is not the most approachable person, but yet he is not hiding himself in a hole. At the same time, he has his hands in everything, and then no one is going to step on him, because if they even try, you might not die at that very moment, but you will die at a certain point in time. He will put a hit out on your head and it will be done. And that is what you call like a good mobster power level type thing. And I think they portrayed it very well, because the positions he was put in, even when his life was at stake and Selena Kyle had the gun on him, he was kind of like, oh, well, hey, it's okay. Like, it's not his first time. It's not his first rodeo. He was already trying to find a way to take the power into his own hands. And I think that was an ingenious way of how to portray of how calm and how seasoned he is to be in this business. And then to also find out that Selena Kyle is also his daughter. I mean, there was just so much in here that to unpack. But I really did love the development and the care for this character. And I think it was played very well, to be honest. The Batman, he was great. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. And Vengeance, this whole entire ordeal. Now, it makes you wonder. I was kind of thinking, he's not, when I was watching, I was like, wow, he's not very ninja like. This reminds me of a very, like, deep Western, to be honest, where he would, like, you would hear the footsteps and hear the person coming. And you have this suspense of, like, waiting for this whatever is coming at you to appear, and it's this person in a suit. And it's actually kind of funny and hilarious to me that you would have these guys with clown makeup and they're kind of looking at him like, oh really? But yet if you really think about normality in this, is that it's normal to wear clown makeup versus someone wearing a full bat suit. So, and I love that fight scene. However, it was very non ninja esque, but that beautiful explanation. If you go back to the novel, he wasn't really trained like a ninja. He was pretty much trained like a mercenary. He's pretty much gonna beat you down, and that's exactly what you got in this Batman. Whenever he fought, he would just beat you down. He wouldn't hold back. You can tell that he was releasing that anger, and he had a lot of it to give. But at the same time, his suit gave so much room for mobility instead of it being stiff. Now, one thing that kind of got me is Bruce Wayne's genius. So, if you really think about it, everything that he made was the Batmobile, the the grappling gun, just about everything on his suit was created by him, and that goes to show his genius, his creativity for mechanics and science and chemistry and biology and just understanding the flight suit that he had when he jumped off the building. I mean, I didn't see where that was tucked at all, and I didn't see how it kind of went away, but it was smart in the idea of creating something to jump off. Now, you can also tell that he was still new because he was kind of taken aback by the height. And, that's what led to this adventure to be so great. Now, one thing I would definitely say in this movie is that I think Batman died like 4 or 5 times. The bomb scene, first off, he was way too bulletproof. I mean, just the machine gun fire, he was dead there. Again, the bomb scene again. If let's say he did take it, the concussion of it. I mean, it would have made a little bit more sense for at least his costume to be a little bit more tattered than it was. It would have made a lot more sense. Because again, he's still new. So how impenetrable is his suit? I know he made it so that he can move, but how he was pretty much bulletproof from the back to the front to the side. It just didn't matter where he got shot. And if we go into movie 2 and someone gets a knife and stabs him in the rib, I'm gonna be pretty upset because you're telling me it can stop a bullet, but it can't stop a pointy thing. Either way, it was a really good movie, but either way, I think he did die like 5 times. I don't know if you think he died more, but I think this movie would have been over a long time ago. But suspense of disbelief, yeah, he did really good by surviving every living thing he went through. Oh, the most important one, which I think it was the hilarious one, when he pulled the parachute and then it got caught on the bridge and he slammed up on top and then fell down. Yeah, no, that's night night. That's night night. Why are you getting up? I would quit. I would quit. I would go home. At that point in time, I would go home. I really would. But yeah, I think those were some interesting scenes. If you oh, and the one he got shot dead in the chest. I don't care what you have. He was gone. He was winded. But yet he did get shot in the chest or in the shoulder with another shotgun when he was in the club as well on the staircase. So I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between each shotgun. Maybe the ammunition or how point blank it was. I mean, I don't know, but either way, or the machine gun fire that he was taking literally like 3 feet away from the other people. I mean, that's pretty huge within itself too. Because he must, yeah, his hearing is definitely he ain't gonna last too much longer if he keeps going that deaf. The one thing I did find very interesting that I think they did really good in this movie is the video game version of playing Batman versus watching him toward the end of the movie, like hang people off the ledges and stuff like that. Because it kind of gave me that good feeling of when I used to play the Batman games and I used to like take people and just knock them over and they used to hang upside down being knocked out. I think that was an ingenious idea to incorporate all that, and it really did feel like an old school Batman game. So I don't know if you actually felt that way either. If you made it this far, let me know down in the comments if you kind of got that idea or if I just reminded you of it or something or anything similar to it. But that's what I really did like. And then my favorite part of the whole entire movie is the chase scene with the Penguin and Bat. I love that car chase scene because that car was ingeniously built, but at the same exact time, I don't know if you know this compared to the novel, he built that himself. And it wasn't built for him to be Batman. It was just built because he wanted the fastest race. He was looking for something to make him happy or to drive him, and he wanted to go fast. And when he actually ended up saving someone, that's what led him to go more toward Batman. But however, him building the fastest vehicle, I thought was purely ingenious in itself. I thought this movie was really good. It got knocked out the park. And truthfully, I can't wait for part 2 to come out. But if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, hit that like button because it does help me out with that YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to hit the bell notification for every time I post. You won't miss anything. And don't forget to kick up and not down. And I will see you the next time I post.